Pressing was a much easier method of making glass than blowing glass, and it took much less time to train the workmen to do the pressing. An apprenticeship to be a glass blower was 5 to 7 years, while training to be a presser only took about 6 months. If you look at the picture on the back wall, you can see how this press was used.
One man would bring over a gather of glass and drop it into the mold, and the second man would cut off the gather, close the mold, and pull down the handle to press the piece. These two men are adults, but actually boys were employed in the factory as well.
What kind of jobs did they do?
The boys would take the finished piece to another oven so that it could cool down slowly. The number of hours it took depended on whether the glass was thin or thick, because thin pieces cooled much more rapidly than thick ones. This was important because if the glass cooled too rapidly, it would probably crack, or it might chip when it came out of the oven.
If you want to see a real-life example of what can happen to glass during the cooling process, head over to the Innovation Center and see the 200-inch glass mirror that was made for an observatory's telescope. That took over a year to cool down because it was so huge. But the cooling oven was opened too soon, which made cracks in the mirror, and that's why it's here at Corning and not on the end of the telescope.